Hey, I'm Renee, but you can call me Blade. And this is the Oh My God Show. I need to rest after that walk. So before I start, I want to say thank you to all those people who watch my video, who comment on my videos, and for those of you who send me private messages. I really thank you for your support and for supporting me in supporting myself in trying to open up to people online. And hopefully whatever I put out or whatever videos I do, I hope that they are helping you to heal, to have fun, to exercise, to eat properly, to thank God for the small things in your life, even when things are not necessarily going the best way for you. And for my subscribers, my new subscribers, I can see I have probably 3 new subscribers for the week, and that is a blessing for me. 3 is also a good number. And yes, and for those people who have been subscribed to my channel for many years, and even when I don't put out videos, I see you still watch, and you also still keep your subscription to my channel. I guess you had faith that one day I will be back. And I am back for now, thank God. And yeah, it's just amazing to be able to communicate with you and to talk to you. And it has always YouTube has always been something that's kind of like my happy place. I just like to talk to the camera and pretend that you're just right there in front of me. And I am really blessed to have people who can sit down, take the time out to watch and to listen to what I have to say. And so many people around the world, they don't have a voice. So many people live in countries or societies where women especially, they don't have a voice, they cannot speak, they cannot travel without permission. There's so many people that don't have freedom, and thank God from where I am from, I was raised to have a voice, to be able to speak. I remember when I was in school and I had classes. I remember I had a particular class, it might have been in university, where we were taught to speak, to send our voice to the back of the room without shouting. And I remember as a child, whenever I used to try to speak and I keep my head down, and the teacher would say, speak up, hold up your head, talk loud, you know. And I did not know that that was a privilege for me, and for many women and for many people, where people have their voices taken from them. They don't have freedom to speak, or some people, they may be too shy even to express themselves, not to talk of expressing themselves on camera or before people. And I hope that in whatever I say, I can be kind of the voice of those people who maybe they don't have the right to speak, or they don't have the opportunity to speak, or they don't feel comfortable to speak to people. So I made a video a few days ago about, I thought I was opening up about my endometriosis, and I explained in the video my reservations about talking about it. And it's really personal because it's a flaw, and it's something that in a way can be used against you if you want to get jobs or whatever, but also to process all of that drama, that pain, and those setbacks as well that I endured as a result of it. And yeah, so someone watched my video, and she was honest and open enough to tell me that in a way she felt like I was talking but not talking much, or I wasn't being very transparent. Not transparent, but I didn't say too much, even though I talked for 20 minutes, I think. But anyway, so that video that said something like visanne 7-month update or something like that was really directed towards talking about a medicine. So I have had this condition maybe for 20 years, 20 good years, but most of those years I was not diagnosed. So I was suffering in pain alone, and I didn't know what was happening, and I didn't really get to a health professional that was able to diagnose it until it was really probably 7 years ago or something like that I got diagnosed. But all of those other years I was dealing with that. So the main thing in my mind is for women or people who, not only the people who have endometriosis, but if you have your husband, he's also gonna suffer. If you have kids, or if you have people who live with you, your people who you work with, everybody is going to have to kind of feel a bit of the drama that goes with this condition. So after all those years of having this condition, it's just recently, like a few months ago, that I even had a medicine that seemed to work to an extent, even though it also has its side effects, called visanne. So the purpose of that video was to let other girls with it even ask their doctor if this is something that they could use, you know, or if you have your wife or your daughter or your sister, your aunt, or somebody that has it, that they would ask about this medicine. I think as well, the thing is, it's probably one of the only ones that they have for the condition. So it kind of, if it doesn't work for you, I don't know what. Some people use other hormones, but I had didn't like the other hormones that I was given prior to this one, and those hormones were short term. So yes, so that's why I wanted to say, oh, see this drug that I use that has helped me even after 20 years of not having a bit of hope as to if I will get something that will help. So that's why I spoke about this drug, this medication called visanne that I take. Yes, I was wondering, did I just take mine? Yeah, so that I take daily for now. And now is actually the time when I'm supposed to go back to my doctor to get a checkup, but because of the quarantine situation, I still have enough medicine for some time, so I will wait. If I have a medical emergency, I will find a way to get to the doctor or the hospital, but now I am okay enough. For the last few days, I've had some abdominal cramps, which probably endometriosis or the chocolate cyst or the medication I'm taking for it. So I'm not really alarmed at the moment. So that's why I really wanted to talk about that. So let's go to the reason why I'm making this video. So this video, I want to talk about what is endometriosis, right? So it never crossed my mind to define endometriosis before. As I said, because I've had it so long, and even the diagnosis was at least 7 years. So I've read, sometimes if I read the definition for endometriosis online, I feel like I want to puke, like I'm tired of hearing it, literally. So basically, the understanding is, first of all, they're not sure what causes it. And if you don't know what causes something, you can understand why it's difficult for them to find a cure, because you need to figure out exactly what causes it to help you to find a cure, I think. So, so I think that's where the complication comes in. Some people say that it's probably what you call retrograde menstruation, which is a backflow of blood that gets trapped somewhere and then causes drama. But it would still lead the question of what causes me, Renee, to have a retrograde menstruation while another woman doesn't. So what would be the cause of this retrograde menstruation, if that is the case? Which, so that is one I would say hypothesis, or one theory. Theories are usually proven, so let's say hypothesis, but for the sake of YouTube, I'll say theory. Forget about my science background. I'm just gonna say the wrong word, but it's okay, guys, forgive me, my science classmates. But yeah, so let's say one theory is this retrograde menstruation, but the other one says that we have, you know, the endometrium, the lining of your womb, if you get, before you get pregnant, gets built up in case there's a baby. It would protect the baby. When you don't get pregnant, then that lining flows out as a period or as menstruation, right? In the case of endometriosis, the same types of cells that lines the womb, that's supposed to just go out normally, behave itself and go outside, these cells starts to migrate past the, what do you call it, the wall of the womb, inside of other places where it cannot go to, where it should not go to, right? So imagine you have orifices or holes where stuff's supposed to go outside of, right? And you know where they are. So if this period or this period type or a womb type cell go outside the womb, it's already in the wrong place. So I find, so this is where it causes inflammation, it causes blocked fallopian tubes, it causes infertility, it causes chronic pain, and yes, so this cell is misbehaving, and it causes a lot of problems because it's not where it is supposed to go. It goes outside and misbehaves. Now, as the whole procedure gets complicated, and I start learning more and more and more about endometriosis. So that was the initial thing I learned when I got diagnosed. But as I start researching more and going through it and stuff like that, I keep reading more, I keep watching more YouTube videos and talking to the doctors and all of this, I realize as well that the So in some rare cases, the endometriosis can even spread to your brain, right? I'm not sure if it can spread to the eye, but it can spread to the brain. And in some cases, you can end up with something called thoracic endometriosis, where it actually affects your lungs. And one lady who on one Kenyan lady, she was talking about it. So your lung or something can collapse. So this is like the harder cases. So also there are 4 stages of endometriosis, right? So you have stage 1, 2, 3, and 4. It also gets to a stage where your internal organs that can start sticking together. Um, your internal organs can start sticking together because um, because of the inflammation and all of this. So your organs, so imagine if you're moving, walking, having a period, and this thing just keeps your organs are kind of together. They're supposed to have some space to move relatively free of each other. They're not glued together. And frozen pelvis is a layman term, but I'm sure the doctors have more complicated procedure. But it's not frozen like an ice, but that's as close as you can get. So think of limited movement and things like that. So so that's kind of what it is like, and it is something I would say you would want to wish on your worst enemy. And what else can I tell you of the definition? So that's what it is. It is and and the next thing is, most of the time you need to see a gynecologist for you to be diagnosed, because they need to do this thing called a laparoscopic surgery to be able to be sure. Because for the female reproductive organs, you have different conditions that can cause pain, drama, and all these things. You have polycystic ovaries, you have the endometriosis that can get trapped inside your ovary called endometriomas. You have what do you call it? You have ovarian cancer. You have some STDs. You have other things that can cause problems in that area. Now, most of the time, like in the case of endometriosis, and I'm talking from experience, right? I'm not talking like, I'm not a doctor, but I have done sciences and I used to work somewhat in the medical field, so I have some amount of information on it, but I'm telling you mostly from my personal experience with myself. And as I said, maybe I don't really know a lot of people who has this condition. Most of them are people that I've never met in real life. So these are girls on YouTube or online, and 1 or 2 people that I think, based on what they tell me, I suspect they have it, but those girls have not been diagnosed formally as yet. So it does mean kind of like I've been in this thing alone. I know people with fibroids as well. Yeah, I forgot about fibroids, who have done surgeries or who have fibroids and other conditions. But endometriosis, to have like a real one-on-one conversation with that person, which I would love to be able to do that. And of course, I heard that Tio Mori has endometriosis, so I listened to her videos. But again, it's kind of limited as well. But yeah, I think, as I said, when you have endo, it can be like you kind of want to keep some things personal and private. Yeah, so that's kind of the definition. Let me check on the how many minutes I've been speaking. Maybe I'll have to talk about something else in another video. But just give me a second. Sorry. Yes, so I don't know. I still cannot see how many minutes after I did all of that. So I know, I hope it makes sense to you guys. I'm so sorry. It's such a long time, such a long journey for me. I feel like I'm talking about an ex, like a bad ex-boyfriend that you just wish you didn't have to go. You just wish you didn't have to go there. But yeah, so I still do have the condition, but I've been much better these days. I mean, really, really much better. And I have also learned more about it, and I also modified my diet a bit. Like, I try to avoid dairy a lot, especially milk and cheese. I still haven't really gone off eggs. I prefer to have like almond milk or just black tea or so, instead of having the cow's milk, which I find gives me a lot of congestion and colds. And I find whenever I'm struggling a lot with the endometriosis, my immune system tend to dip, and I find that it's easier for me to get a cold, because my body, I think, is obviously fighting a lot Yeah, I hope that this video will not be too long for YouTube, but the next thing I want to talk about is how I got diagnosed, right? So I kind of rambled a bit about what endometriosis is, or what I have been told, what I have read online. Yes, but the next thing is, how do you get diagnosed? So the person who gave me the idea to do this video was like, yeah, what about people who want to know, like, if they have it or not? So as I said, they do a laparoscopic surgery where they literally pierce holes into your abdominal region, and then they put camera and instruments. They look inside literally to be able to definitively say it is endometriosis. So they can see stuff being stuck together. They can see the inflammation. They can see everything inside there. And trust me, I saw the one video of my second surgery, parts of the video, little parts that the doctor gave me on a CD, and like, I think once you go inside, you can see that something is definitely wrong. So that's how they can be say, yeah, sure, this is endometriosis. They don't have a blood test that they can use. There is a blood test that they can use, that I have done this blood test to see if something is wrong. But the thing is, this blood test shows abnormal if you have ovarian cancer or if you have endometriosis. So even if you do this blood test, and my range was crazy, like the normal range was like in the 30s and I was 600 and something, so for sure they knew something was wrong. So they were getting warmer, they were getting closer, but then it doesn't say what I have, right? Unfortunately, some girls have both endometriosis and ovarian cancer, but also they won't be able to be sure what you have. And I think as well, the doctors would be more reluctant to try to diagnose it if you come complaining of pain, because imagine if they were to do a surgery on you, like I just explained, only to tell you nothing has happened. So you'd be annoyed as well. So I feel like you have to give the doctors a bit of a break, in the sense that they want to make sure, if I were a doctor, like I would want to make sure that I have a good lead to go and cut someone and look inside, even though it's small incisions, but still some of them leave the scars as well. The funny thing is, the first surgery that I had, when they did the first lap surgery, like it came and they gave the scars and everything, and I was like, oh my gosh, my stomach was so perfect, and now I have all these little scars coming out, and eventually they faded. But the thing is, by the time that the scars of the other surgery faded, I needed to do another surgery. I was like, seriously, like seriously. So yeah, that's just like a random thing that just came to my mind, but I found it funny. I was like, okay, yeah. So I think that was 3 years later, I still needed to do another surgery, because yeah, it went back to square one or something like that. And so I think for me, so the main thing, I won't explain how I figured, like the main thing that I had was really bad pain. That's one of the main things that, something, but I feel like I was kind of made to believe that it was normal, right, to have this pain. One of the things used to happen to me, so in high school was when things started going crazy. So I used to throw up. Sometimes I used to be on the toilet and then there's something there. TMI, guys, it's probably a little bit gross, but yeah. So simultaneous diarrhea and vomiting. And as the year progressed, things would get more and more, a little bit of, so every single month, vomiting, diarrhea, pain, I'm on the floor, I'm passing out, I'm blocking out. I had a lot of nausea. So nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, pain, and just gross stuff that I probably shouldn't mention in a video, just stuff and clots and things like that. And each time it would get a little bit more worse, a little bit more difficult to deal with. And the next thing that I found too was that I had to go to the bathroom to urinate a lot, which also ended up disturbing my sleep, which contributed to the fatigue. It always felt like something was pressing down on my bladder. And I think it got so bad to the point where I would even need to go to the bathroom 10 to 15 times per night. I would sometimes leave the toilet, pee, come back, and I need to go back immediately, like this. So it really damaged my sleep. Then I wouldn't be able to sleep well, and it's like a cycle. What else can I say that you could look at as a sign? yeah, if you're so ill that you cannot go to school, or you go to school. And I remember in university, many years later, um, I would I had to start skipping classes, which I remember one lecturer told me that I should just basically I should drop out of university, but the devil was a liar. So but even in university too, I did not know what was wrong with me. So even for the lecturers or for the teachers or for my friends, I didn't have a valid excuse for them when I had pain or when I snuck into class late. And I remember by the time I got to university, forgive me if I'm patchy because I told you it's many years of drama. So my brain is all over the place, sorry. But so I would feel this pain and everything. And if I mean, when I was in high school, I remember some days I would spend at the nurse. After high school, just struggling up and down. But I was also going through a very difficult financial time, and I didn't have a stable home. So I think I didn't have a lot of time to too much think about the drama of the period pain unless I'm having a period. So I was thinking, oh, I need to see gynecologist, I need to go see doctor. I don't think I would have had the money to go. And when I did go to the general doctors, I remember one doctor gave me tablets for pregnant ladies. So I went to the pharmacy, and the guy was like, are you pregnant? And I'm like, I don't think I'm pregnant. I think I would have known, but no, I'm not pregnant. So I think he actually changed the medicine to some iron tablets and stuff like that. I used to feel weak a lot, so I used to take iron tablets a lot religiously. I used to feel weak as well. And what else can I tell you? So the weakness was there, the fatigue was there. So yes, in class, so it started getting weird. So in university, by second year, uh, I used to end up I used to be in so much pain that I would spend the whole night in tears. I would I don't even think I couldn't even cry a lot. The pain was beyond tears. That's again something that made me think, this thing is really, maybe I started wondering, what is this? Like, you know, I would get so much pain, I cannot cry. It's beyond tears. Tears is nothing. I cannot cry. There is no tears there. It's beyond tears. Forget about crying. And maybe that's why when you go to hospital, you don't hear people, the whole place screaming down. Like, some pain is beyond tears, honestly. So I had that pain that was beyond tears. But then I would wake up and my face would be just swollen because maybe I didn't sleep all night, or I don't know. Sometimes I think I would wake up crying. And once I was staying with my mom for a short period, and I remember she would say I groaned in my sleep. But I think I was like, I didn't understand what that was about. But then when I think about it, yeah. So I would feel pain in my sleep. I would wake up in pain. Sometimes the pain would wake me up. So especially 2 a.m. in the morning. So Jamaica is not a cold country. So I don't know if the place was getting cold in the, like when the temperature dropped a bit at night, or it's just because I'm ill. But I would feel really cold, and the cold would trigger off the pain, shoot the pain up my spine and down my legs, especially down my legs. So that's why most of the time I wouldn't be able to stand, or I would have to crawl to the bathroom, creep to the bathroom, or when I got to situations and buildings where there were elevators, sometimes I would be in so much pain. I would have just the small ride you need to get from floor 2 to 4 or something. I would stoop to the ground of the elevator. I remember I have memories of being on the floor of elevators all the time, and or just stooping down at places because that pain was there, and it's very difficult to walk. Yeah, the cold would trigger off the pain. I would stay up all night crying. So by the time, I remember we used to have our main classes, the heavy courses, 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock in university. And most of the time I am just gonna fall asleep by say 7, 8, because I would have been awake all night in the pain. Sometime by the morning it would calm down a bit, and by that time I was taking some of the more powerful like painkillers. And then I remember I would spend my weekends, I would scroll over to the school medical department, and I would go there. And sometimes if the doctors wrote prescription, I didn't have money to fill it anyway. But again, nobody was mentioning like gynecologists or anything like that. I don't know why it was considered, I don't know, I never really got that real genuine impression that it was not normal. But yeah, So yeah, and I explained in the last video how this young lady let me realize that, oh, something is really, really wrong. What else can I remember? That was the main thing. So then I would go to sometimes I would have to skip that class because I'm just falling asleep. I don't have the physical energy to go to the doctor or anything, or to class. Or I remember as well, I would get, by the time I finished university now, which was closer to when I got diagnosed, about one year or two after university, I would start getting to the point where then I got a job after I finished, and that job was really stressful for me. It was a very toxic kind of working environment, and on top of everything, the pain and again, I still don't know what I have. So even me, I don't know. Then I started becoming a little bit inefficient. I couldn't, I would fall asleep here and there at work. I remember getting in trouble once, like somebody was like, oh, she fell asleep on the job or something. But I couldn't, the fatigue was too much. My body was tired of the pain. It couldn't like deal with it anymore, and I was like falling out, literally. I still don't know what I have, so I still have no explanation. And then at home, at times, I would find it very difficult to physically wake up. Meaning I would be awake trying to fight myself out of bed, but my body was really like, I don't know, I couldn't wake up. Sometimes I would have to fight myself to physically get the load. Like my body felt really heavy, I can't wake up, that kind of thing. Somehow I mentioned once to one doctor, and it was that lady first who mentioned, oh, let's just check the laparoscopic, do some surgery, whatever. And by that time, I was really at a point where I was not able to function. I was kind of at the end of my rope. And so the rest is history. Then the word endometriosis and the whole drama surrounding the surgery, and after that, and the 7 years or 6 years or something like that, following me doing other surgeries and other procedures and trying different medicines and things like that. But I would say, if I were to conclude, if you're in that kind of pain, or you can't work, you can't do this, you can't do that, like women, we'd go through our monthly thing. It's supposed to be normal. Some people feel a bit of bloating, a bit of pain. Oh yes, the bloating was worse. I bloat sometimes, you would think I am like 3 months pregnant. And not only did it look big, it wasn't just like, oh, it was unattractive, but the pain of the bloating was too much. Yeah, so imagine after 20 years, I have maybe too much symptoms and signs and stuff like that I could tell you. It's all over the place, because same thing, all over the place with the doctors, all over the place with my emotions, all over the place with the pain. So if you are so sick, you are crawling on the floor, you are vomiting everywhere, you are having diarrhea, or you have some kind of pain or something like that, or people are gossiping about you because you didn't come to work this time, or some random stuff like that, like something is wrong, because the other girls, they don't go through that, right? So it's not normal if you're in pain, or if you can feel, I could feel a lot of times my physical ovaries are hurting me and mostly on the left side, which eventually they did prove that something was wrong there as well. And when the doctors told me like my fallopian tubes are blocked or this and that, like, if you are in so much pain and that you're not lying, and that you're not just trying to get a sick day off from work, and that it's not that you don't want to go to do this exam, or in your heart that something is wrong, then you go and get checked. And when you go to a doctor, you can ask them, or they will probably refer you to a gynecologist, or you can ask them, please let me get a second opinion, or if you can write a referral for me to see a gynecologist, and then you can get some help from there. Nowadays, it's not as in the dark as when I was younger and stuff like that, because I see different people talking about it now, so it might be even easier for you. But if you are becoming debilitated by this pain, or becoming almost a handicap, or you cannot function, some people are losing their jobs, some people cannot go to work because of period pain, then that is a sign to you that something is not right, So I can tell you much more. As I said, it's been 20 years, so there's too much to say. But yeah, just get checked out by a doctor, and just don't, the pain is not in your head, because also if the pain is in your head, then something is wrong with your head as well, so you also need to get checked, you know what I mean? And I remember someone was implying to me as well, they were like, oh, because they didn't have the pain, and they're a woman as well, and they were like, maybe you have a low threshold to pain. But if I have a low threshold to pain, that is, do you know what I mean? Like, even if I have a low threshold to pain, why do I have a low threshold to pain? But if you're feeling pain and if you're not feeling well and something is wrong with you, then you should get help. Try to change your diet as well, talk to a doctor, and see how things can work. So yeah, so you can see why I didn't really want to do this video. It's a lot of drama, lots of ups and downs, but yeah, it's something that you can just get to that point where you're like, okay, yeah. And I was kind of a bit relieved when I found out what it was, but then the other sad part of it was when now you have to find out, oh, they don't have a cure, they don't have this, they don't have that. And that time as well, when I got diagnosed, they didn't even have the medicine that I'm taking now. So you see, you just stay positive, stay focused, and just know that this too shall pass. And you know, I lived long enough for them to have something, and I pray to God one day I will be completely healed of this drama. And yeah, and sometimes it's difficult as well, that if you have support in your life, if you have people who support you, can help you out. I remember once I wasn't feeling well at work, and I was working with this particular young lady, and I told her that she was the only person I told that I wasn't feeling well, but nobody could see it, because that's the thing with endometriosis, is like a silent disease. Like, you can be dying and about to pass out, but like if you don't tell somebody, like maybe they will never know, which kind of helps us out probably sometimes to keep our jobs. And she kind of like covered up for me, like she did some of my duties for me, and she's like, sit down. And that was a miracle as well, you know. So people are nice, some people are very considerate or caring. Sometimes if you just have one person to confide with, because I was getting to the point where I couldn't keep it anymore. I had to start telling one or two people, because I figured sometimes I felt I would pass out, and you don't want to pass out and nobody knows what's wrong with you. So then thank God I never passed out, and I was able to finish my duties that day. But yeah, God always provides, huh? So anyway guys, I will be back with other videos. I got dressed up for you, but I was not going to put on makeup, because I'm not gonna sit down in my room in quarantine in high heels and makeup just for YouTube. But anyway, I tried out. I tried. Look at the earrings, I did try. So thank you for watching and supporting my video. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm Blade. I have too much to say. I always have stories and everything, so you are going to be tired to see my face. So yeah, you know how it is. Like, whenever I get to this point where I run out of words, but I don't even run out of words, I know that I need to get off the video. So bye, see you next time. Thanks for watching.